Hey, Ellie, do you know the difference between motivation and discipline?
I don't know what those mean.
Spiritual practices with
Eliana and
Greg.
Sebastian.
And sometimes Sebastian too. Before we get into motivation versus discipline, why don't we talk about where we are? Where are we?
In our apple fruit orchard.
In our fruit orchard. But last time everyone saw us, we weren't in our fruit orchard. We didn't have a fruit orchard.
We moved.
How is our new home different from our old home?
Well, we have a big land. And we're getting a new part of our house done. And there's more blackberries. And there's kind of an orchard.
Yeah.
And there's animals.
Taking care of all these things takes a lot of work, right? It means we take care of the fruit trees, we take care of the animals, of course we take care of each other. And sometimes we don't necessarily want to do those things, do we?
No.
Sometimes it's hard to get up and do all the chores that are required. And that's the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is when we convince ourselves that we want to do something. And discipline is when we just do it because we know that it needs to be done. It's like even when we're tired, we still have the discipline to go and take care of the chickens.
But I like doing the chores.
That's true, yeah. Sometimes it is pretty fun, right? Which chores do you like?
Well, I like bunnies because they're my favorite animal.
The bunnies are lots of fun, aren't they? And what do you like about the bunnies?
They're soft.
So your motivation is still pretty high to take care of the animals, right? And what about the chickens? Do you like doing the chickens?
Yeah, because we get to do the baby chickens too.
Yeah, Bodhi and Cody.
Cody and Bodhi.
Cody and Bodhi. What else is neat about the chickens?
We get to open their coop, and sometimes they escape.
You know what I like actually most about the chickens is when we open up the door in the morning. Coop.
And then it's like a parade of chickens.
The chicken parade. They come down and look for their food.
Even though they know where their food is.
And how are the ducks special?
There are ducks, and they aren't as skittish as the other ones.
You got those ducks when they were just ducklings, right? So they've
And
known...
Flossie was yellow.
Yeah, that's right.
And Geraldine wasn't as fat and brown.
They were just teeny tiny, weren't they?
Kind of.
You could hold all three easily, all together.
Mama could, but I could only hold like one.
Yeah. But you've got a long relationship with them, haven't you? Sometimes when I get up in the mornings, I'm going through the list of things that I need to do today. And sometimes it feels like a pretty long list. But when I have chores to do in the morning, it doesn't really matter how long my to-do list is because there are animals depending on me. Sometimes there are children depending on me. They're just things that I do because they need to be done. Even if my motivation is low, I still have the discipline to do it. And someday, that'll be important for you too. Even when your motivation is low, you're like, do I really have to do this thing? Then
That
you'll say,
sometimes happens to me now.
yeah, your motivation is low. You
Yeah.
don't really want to do it.
Do I have to?
That does seem familiar to me, actually. Sometimes that's the case with spiritual practices too. Whether we're meditating or walking or running.
Dancing, barefooting, singing.
Singing. Sometimes we feel high levels of motivation to do these things, we want to, and sometimes we do them because we know that it's good for us, we know that it helps to make us more compassionate, more calm, more grounded and connected to God. And so even when we're feeling low motivation, we bring an intention to doing the things that we do, like our chores, and then we can remember that we actually are connected. When I'm taking care of the chickens, I remember that we are all connected to all life. And that's the point of all of these practices, to remind us that we're connected to each other and to our surroundings and to the earth, to God, to the sacred. And even when we forget about that connectedness, as long as we have a practice, as long as we have the discipline to keep doing it, then eventually we remember that we are all connected. Shall we show them what it's like when we do our chores?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Why don't we wake up bright and early in the morning, and then we'll go do our chores.
Mm-hmm. Ow! Oh no.
So Ellie, we've shown some practices, well, some chores actually. And how do we make sure that our chores become spiritual practices? I mean, we could just do the chores without intention, and they're just things that we do. But what makes them spiritual, or what helps us to feel connected especially, or present to that particular moment?
Well, we take care of the animals. That's how we feel connected to them.
Uh-huh. Like by touching them and feeding them. So Ellie, what's your favorite piece of advice for somebody who's trying to take their chore list and turn it into a spiritual practice?
If you have animals, try to connect with them by like petting them or holding them if you can catch them. And if you have to do it in the morning, like Papa said, don't be grumpy and rush for your coffee, but like say a prayer of thanks.
Yeah, that's my piece of advice, is to say a prayer of gratitude, even if just in your head, but for everything that you're doing, whether you're watering plants, giving thanks to the earth, giving thanks for the plants. If you're feeding animals, offering gratitude to the animal, giving thanks for the animal. That helps me to keep it a spiritual practice and not just one more thing I have to do. Well, now we want you to turn off your device.
And go practice.
Go practice turning your chores into spiritual practices.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Now turn off your device and go practice. And be sure to subscribe.